I asked their AI database, the AI ChatGPT, if there were any archaeological finds that have been removed from the public, removing evidence of a previous civilization that was here where we live today. The answer is shocking. Yes, there have been numerous instances where archaeological finds are removed from the public, all of us, where statement number 6 is the final straw for the mainstream narrative, a narrative that is taught to all of us since day one, a narrative that is being taught in children's classrooms in every country, stating controversial finds, items that could challenge established historical narratives, the mainstream narrative. These items might also be kept from public display, doing this to avoid controversy or debate. For any mainstream historian, this is the end. And for any archaeologist, you are now exposed. And this is just the beginning today. In fact, it's just the beginning of a massive series that we are starting right now as we speak. I'm going to be referring back to this episode time and time again. And to this point in all of our episodes, I've never needed to read something more. This page in their book will be the end of the story that we're all told, and the beginning of free thinking, the beginning of finding the truth, stating, advocates argue that the public access to such artifacts is essential for a fuller understanding of our true history and for fostering critical thinking about the truth, our world's true history, suppressing giants, with some findings in the Americas that suggest advanced civilizations existed, just like we've talked about before European contact, such as evidence of complex urban planning, where the mainstream narrative, the mainstream archaeology, dismisses it, which contributes to these artifacts that have been found not being displayed or discussed, hiding artifacts that would expose an advanced previous civilization, hiding them simply because it goes against the mainstream narrative, is exactly what we're being told. This highlights the tension between advancing knowledge, exactly what we're doing here, or sticking with the existing power structure in academia and society as we evolve this knowledge, exactly like we're doing right here on this channel. There may be a shift towards greater public access to the items found that are being hidden from all of us to this day. And I say that this is the beginning because we are now starting this series where we're going to expose the sites, the items that are currently being blocked off from the public, blocking them off, hiding them from all of us, an attempt that has been very successful for a long time to keep their false narrative in place. Have we heard off limits to the public due to preservation or to keep looters away? How many times? This is the nod. This is the key, and we now know this. We've seen this in episode 98, where access to the physical artifacts may be restricted to ensure their preservation. We've seen it in episode 102, where it is no longer being exhibited to the public. We've seen so many examples of this, and today, it couldn't be any clearer, any more straightforward, that so much of what we are told in life is controlled. It's manipulated to fit the narrative that we are all given, and we are about to take this to another level. Episode 86, when we saw that the project is supported by National Agency of Cultural Heritage Preservation of Georgia, the AFCP, has allocated more than $1 million to preserve and protect the mainstream narrative, is exactly what I'm reading right now. This is a moment where our eyes open up even further, and we are able to see with more clarity than ever before. And once you're able to see, you will never go back. Understanding that preservation and protecting in the world of archaeology, this means preserving and protecting themselves, their narrative. This does not mean that they are preserving or protecting what they have found. And I want to make that very clear. And this is fully exposed now The blindfold has been ripped off, and there's no going back. This show is a progression. It takes time to show people the truth. There is a buildup, a process. The episodes are in order for a reason. The AFCP, an initiative by the United States Department of State, just starting up in 2001. What a year. A group that the people of America fund through their tax dollars. A group that the world did not need in the 18 or 1900s. And I wonder why. Now again, I just want to clarify, and I don't want to be sarcastic at all. This group is amazing. We all know that they really are preserving and protecting all of our favorite sites. They support projects in over 130 countries, preserving tangible and intangible cultural heritage, such as historic structures, archaeological sites, and traditional crafts. They restore ancient temples and mosques, conservation of manuscripts from the Old World, textiles, and Old World music, preservation of significant landscapes. They are for sure doing all of this. Right. I know a few people that don't think that they're helping any of these places. In fact, it's the opposite. And I have to say that I know these people very well. Jebel Barkal and the sites of the Napatan region, Sudan, where the AFCP has funded conservation efforts at this UNESCO World Heritage Site. And we know this group very well, which includes temples, palaces, and pyramids from the Old World. You've got to ask, why are there so many groups that aim to supposedly preserve and protect sites that don't fit into the mainstream narrative that the exact same group publishes into the textbooks? And then they also fund the operation of teaching this narrative, the same narrative that they just wrote, all to the people at a young age in every single country. I believe that we have correctly translated their language. The words preserve, protect, and conservation, preserving and protecting their narrative is exactly what this means. And this unlocks so many more sites, so many old world places that is going to take this research so much further than we could have ever imagined. It will unlock places that have been hiding for so long. Jebel Barkal, a site that has been preserved and protected by the AFCP. And we all know why. The ruins include at least 13 temples. The temples were described for the first time in the 1820s. Again, our timeline. And never before this, with their drawings and their descriptions. In 1821, twice. And in 1844, documenting and recording significant architectural details. These documented accounts show architectural details that were here in the 1800s and have since disappeared. They're gone. And then the narrative just goes on without asking any questions. Like, what happened to them? How did they just disappear? Where you can see the depictions, the tents of the times, right here at the bottom. And then the pyramids in the background that they, of course, just found. These are the finders of the 1800s, our brand new timeline. With the pyramids at this time still having their tops and not yet blown off by the gunpowder, blowing off the tops of the pyramids within the last 200 years. What have we just found? Is this what they did in Egypt? What was the significance of the top of the pyramids? Why destroy the top? What is a pyramid? Why did the old world have so many of them? This site, the one that we're able to see today, is still incredible. What's left at this location after the AFCP has gone in here and preserved and protected the mainstream narrative, they still have depictions of the past, the old world, with depictions showing that there were beings here that did not look like us. And we know this at this point. And a palace that has been melted, destroyed, and completely turned into dirt. This whole area is mud and sand, with some sort of event taking place that wiped out this previous civilization. It is very obvious that something happened. This is not just from weathering. And I'm sorry, but this is not naturally forming, like we've been told. 118 miles from this site, we also have the ancient kingdom of Kush, with the AFCP conserving Kerma's treasures. Conserving. Let's take this further. While the primary meaning of conserve is to protect, preserve, or maintain something, the word conserve can imply keeping something out of view or safeguarding it in a way that limits public access, giving the appearance of hiding. But we promise, we're just trying to keep it safe, with examples being cultural artifacts. Artifacts or treasures are often conserved in controlled environments, like vaults. Keeping old world items in vaults. Could you even imagine, during a trial, saying that what they found is protected in a vault? And we promise it's just so the evidence is protected. We can't bring it into the room. But we swear they're there and we're hiding it. There's nothing to see and they're protected. Not putting them on public display. This is amazing. Environmental conservation. To protect them from overexposure or human interference, closed off to the public. All of us. Our eyes are gonna ruin it, and their eyes won't. It makes total sense. No. Confidential or sensitive materials, historical documents or artifacts may be conserved in archives where access is limited for their protection. And I'm just gonna be honest, these are all excuses to not let us see the old world, our true history, items that would give it all away. That there was a previous civilization here before us, a massive, powerful, advanced group of people, right here where we all live. And their buildings, their structures, remain for us to see today. In every country, in every continent. We are not the most advanced civilization to ever be here. We are not evolving. This is nonsense. And we know this now. Technology has been here. They were not constructing the Milan Cathedral with a chisel while riding around on a donkey. This story is nonsense. Where they were struggling in winters, dirt roads, and couldn't find any food. Not having a store to purchase shoes, and then going to the bathroom in their front lawn. And not having any toilet paper after they're done. Until we all show up and save the day in the 1800s. This narrative is done. It's over. Again, Kerma, located 118 miles away. Again, in Sudan. And again, more melting. And of course, containing over 30,000 individuals. The old world people. And then they give us this stupid distraction word again. The pottery. Saying they found the burials, especially with regards to material evidence such as pottery. We know that this is the indicator that they located more. They give us the pottery over and over, suggesting they were primitive, sitting around making bowls, sitting around making teacups over and over, and couldn't put their socks on by themselves. They needed our help more than anything. And we accepted that and never asked, what else did they find? The first archaeological excavation at the site of Kerma was conducted in 1913 and 1916, not 1740, not 1630, and not 1580. Once again, in the 18 or 1900s. Our timeline over and over and over and over. This is the case. This place has been destroyed. All in my opinion, but based on everything that we've seen. I believe that there are looters of these old world sites, as well as destroyers. And I think they're the same group that's writing our history. Now, we've seen what they're doing in Sudan. I want to show that this is worldwide. I want to show that the truth is being hidden from all of us, blocked off from the public. When we travel to China and find the Terracotta Army, a collection of over 8,000 soldiers that was just found in 1974 by a local farmer. And then, of course, just finding it in 1974, they are able to pin down the date of -210 and -209. This is insane at this point. And all of this is incredible, but not even close to the best part. Are you ready? For centuries, occasional reports mentioned pieces of terracotta figures and fragments of the necropolis. Again, the necropolis, episode 105, a cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city. Again, episode 105, this is a necropolis, revealing pottery yet again. Finding all of this while digging a well. The terracotta army is part of a much larger necropolis. Ground penetrating radar and core sampling have measured the area to be approximately 38 square miles. Can you even imagine how many people from the old world are buried here? This is unbelievable. A massive 38 square mile site that we are told is a necropolis. What else is not being shown to us within these 38 square miles? And what does this site connect to underground? Tunnels. Again, so many heads are removed, where I believe there were beings here, individuals that do not look like us at all. 7 of them right here in the front without a head. Do you believe that that's on accident? This series is just getting started. I cannot wait to share what we have found. Telling us that they found rare animals, griffins, pits that formed the necropolis that lie within and outside of the walls surrounding the tomb mound, with the terracotta army statues, each having a uniquely crafted facial feature, hairstyle, and armor detail. No two faces are alike, meaning that we know these were not molds. The previous civilization had tools and were incredibly advanced. The figures are life-sized, typically 6 feet 6 inches tall. Some of the men had massive bodies. Again, giants, depictions of the past, massive individuals. They were all originally painted, but the paint came off after removing the mud surrounding the army, the mud flood, burying so much from the old world. And of course, we are told that a grave pit was discovered and excavated in 2003. Just finding all of this, with 121 skeletons retrieved, where they identify these people as the site workers, where we know that that's not true. And we also know that this is a necropolis. They just told us this. And there are so many more people than just 121 individuals across the 38 square miles. We know this. Most of the figures originally held real weapons, where the majority of these weapons were, of course, looted. Who looted these items? You tell me. Or they just rotted away. Not a chance. This was removed from the scene before we all got to see the old world's weapons that don't fit into the narrative. Again, what is really below our feet? I think that we all know that the previous civilization is, and I'm guessing that they still haven't found everything. With the main tomb of China's terracotta army, we are told that the first emperor of China remains unopened. This tomb lies beneath a large mound at the heart of the burial complex. The necropolis that was just found in 1974 remains unopened. Why is this? I believe it's to, of course, preserve their narrative, where experts fear that opening the tomb could expose that the mainstream history is a lie, is exactly what I see. Telling us that our technology just isn't advanced enough to open the tomb, where I believe that they have found text, tablets, like we have seen, that explain what's inside. I think they have technology that can see inside, or I think that maybe they've already been in there. And then we see that they have records describing the tomb, scaring all of us, saying that there is mercury in there. So it's way too hazardous to show to the world. They know what's inside. They know that something has been found in the 1970s that would expose it all. And I believe that it's inside of this tomb, with these texts that we are told about stating, the tomb is said to be a grand underground palace filled with old world treasures, replicas of the Empire, replicas of the previous civilization, with some speculating that it might hold even more intricate artifacts than just the terracotta army. And I think that's exactly right. All off limits to the public, all of us, all to preserve the mainstream narrative. One of the most significant discoveries in the history of the world was finding the library of Ashurbanipal, Iraq, where they just found this place in the 1800s yet again. The library held an estimated 30,000 clay tablets in the 1800s, with the current state telling all of us that this site does not house the tablets anymore. So what happened to them? We are told that the city was destroyed in the year -612. This is insane at this point. Anyone that thinks that somebody within the last 300 years could wake up and have a cup of coffee and head over to the site and pin down the date of -612 needs serious help. At 6:15 p.m. in the year -613. No. It's -612. -612. The city was destroyed by a fire and baked many of the clay tablets. We have shown the fire narrative and exposed it to the whole world. We have a playlist on this called The Fire Games. I personally believe that any story about this place that we all live before the 1700s is 100% fabricated. I believe that we are fed a bunch of AI narratives that repeat themselves over and over in every single country. So this fire from 2,637 years ago on the dot supposedly protected the tablets. And it wasn't until our timeline comes around that they finally find the tablets, uncovering a significant portion. Now, remember, rediscovery. This is just the discovery. We are not rediscovering anything. This is the first time that we found it. So they find them for the first time, no rediscovering. And then they take them all to England, where the British Museum in London houses the majority of these tablets. Very interesting. Where we are now given a location, which is going to unlock so many doors and allow us to go so much further. Episode 108, that the Vatican has 53 miles of texts and artifacts from the previous civilization. The old world, a very powerful, advanced group of people that we're all here and are missing from our mainstream narrative. These 53 miles underneath Vatican City, these texts and artifacts are all off limits to the public, hiding our true history, our true past. These tablets that were found in Iraq in the 1800s were then taken to England, where now they are not available for public viewing. Amazing. Wait, what is this? This only represents a small fraction of the total collection. The majority of the recovered tablets are kept in storage or archives within the museum and are only accessible to researchers or by special request, largely for preservation reasons. Yes. Episode 107, preservation. All to preserve the mainstream narrative. We all know now that they are not preserving the items. They are preserving the narrative. They are preserving and they are protecting their story. I believe on this channel we have exposed this and proved that this is the case 100%. Off limits to the public, over and over. The true narrative is not being shown to us in every single country. It's not just a once-off fluke, which shows that this is an operation and it's been going on since the 1800s. This is documented within the stories. How can a narrative be fully trusted if time and time again, the majority of the artifacts, the majority of the texts are off limits to the public? How is this the story that anybody could side with? This is not the story you'd side with. It's the side that you would call out, especially when we have mentioned this epic in the past. In episode 104, the Epic of Gilgamesh, where Gilgamesh wanted to live forever. He became obsessed with avoiding death, and he later reveals the existence of a plant that can restore youth. And I believe that the Epic of Gilgamesh explains all of this. I also believe that they have found so much more within all of these tablets and old world texts that are off limits to the public. Where today, I believe that we have just found the Epic of Gilgamesh's location, where thousands of tablets, including the Epic of Gilgamesh, were transported to England. Are you having fun? Do you enjoy the truth? Please hit that like button and subscribe. Thousands of clay tablets, including the Epic of Gilgamesh and possibly How to Live Forever, and other critical texts were shipped to England. They were able to do this by claiming that they were protecting the artifacts. Do we all understand that they are still doing this exact same thing today? They are stealing the artifacts. They are not protecting them. Again, protecting the narrative is exactly what they're doing. Protecting their narrative, a fake story, so that they get to keep all the old world technology, the old world texts, the old world information, and all of it is off limits to all of us. This is what's going on, and it's not a debate. Still to this day, claiming that they are preserving these 30,000 tablets. This is what they're telling us, stating that they don't want to risk damaging them through public display. This is nonsense, with other tablets actively being studied by the scholars, and therefore remain in controlled environments, only accessible to the researchers. In today's time, how are they just doing investigations, so-called studies, without a camera in there for all of us to see? The camera isn't going to bother the stone or the clay tablets. This is an excuse. How are we not allowed to see these tablets? We are being blocked off from basically everything that's valuable, just giving us all the pottery so that we would all just nod and go on with our day. Could you even imagine what information they have hidden away? We have found 30,000 tablets that are off limits to the public in England. We have also found another 53 miles of books in Vatican City under the ground. These two sites alone would change the entire world in 1 second if these items were open to the public. And we all know it, with possibly the technology to live forever. Now, some might not want to do that, and that's totally fine. But if there is a plant that's here that would make you live forever, just imagine what else is within those texts. The tablets. Whenever I say that things are being given back to us since the 1800s, from the car to the plane, the train, the TV, the cell phone, and the rest, there was an advanced civilization here before us. A civilization that was writing things down, putting them in clay tablets, putting them in books, things that were supposed to be here for all of us. And all of these things are now being hidden from us. Now do you understand why they are being hidden from us? The British Museum, an incredible place for our research. Back-to-back episodes, I believe we have located 2 places that hold basically everything that we need to know and are being blocked off from all of us. They are off limits to the public. And one of these sites being a necropolis. We are pinning this down, and it's incredible. Inside this building that is clearly from the old world, it holds statues that, again, have their heads removed. Their arms are removed, where I believe that they are hiding how many fingers they had and what they were holding, removing their faces, just like we have seen so many times, removing what the previous civilization actually looked like. Not everybody, but definitely some of them. 100%. Hold on a second. We need to zoom in here on this foot. What is going on here? Take a look at this. We need to brighten this up. Can we see that we are correct yet again? That these individuals had more toes. Even look at this little toe. What is going on here? We are seeing a depiction of the past. These statues all over the world were constructed with precision and with a purpose. They did not accidentally mess this foot up and then go on and make the outfit perfect like this. These hands, these faces on these statues aren't chopped off for no reason. And I want to make that clear. This is yet another thing that we have exposed to the world right here on this channel. And I'm going to tell you what, as far as the 6 fingers, the 6 toes, this subject is just getting started. Going back to episode 99, where we saw in 2 Samuel 21:20 that there was a man of great stature that had on every hand 6 fingers and on every foot 6 toes. He was also born to the giant. Giants from the old world. We will definitely be getting into this in the future. 96 skeletons with a 6th toe. So who is it? Who is not allowing us to see these 30,000 tablets inside of this museum? Who is it? These tablets that were stolen from Iraq in the 1800s. Who is currently doing this? The museum director. He has the authority to grant access or deny it. His name was Harwig Fisher. When we kept scrolling down, we see that Fisher resigned because of missing items from the museum. What do you know? Including gold jewelry, precious gems, and we all know that there was more. And we also know that this has happened so many times. So many times a director of this museum or other museums have taken the items out and then resigned. And then nothing ever happens. Let's continue. So now, Nicholas Cullinan is the guy. All of this is happening recently. Nicholas steps in as of March 2024. Now, we have never actually asked him. So at this point, he's not really done anything wrong, besides not make the 30,000 tablets fully accessible to the public. But again, we haven't asked him. So we can't fully be upset at him yet. Mr. Cullinan, if you're watching somehow, we all want to see the tablets and whatever else is hiding from our true past in the museum. You would be a legend for exposing them to the world. I do believe that it's time for the world to know the truth. But does he really have the power to do this? I'm not sure. Just to show how these people get into this role, there are people above his role that are appointing these people, including the board of trustees, the prime minister, as well as a firm outside of the museum. So who knows if Nicholas Cullinan can actually say, all right, guys, today is the day that the 30,000 tablets that we stole from Iraq will be shown to the world. It seems much more difficult than this, but I could be wrong, where he would have to go through the board, like we said, but also UK laws, the British Museum Act of 1963. Did any of us know about this before today? It defines how artifacts in the collection can be managed and prohibits removing the items from the collection, except in specific circumstances. A, duplicate items. No, that's not the case. B, unfit for retention applies to damaged, incomplete, or insignificant items. So it's not that one either. C, it was stolen or acquired unlawfully. It may be returned to its rightful owner. Well, now we're on to something. I do believe that these tablets were stolen from Iraq, and better yet, every single person here living today. This is information from the old world. I don't believe that it belongs to just one country. But if it did, it's not England, and we all know this. I believe that we are all the rightful owners of this information. These tablets do not belong to Britain at all, and that's obvious. They were stolen, and they were acquired unlawfully. Same thing with D, can be returned to their country. So by law, this is possible. These tablets should definitely not be hiding from all of us at this point. We should all be able to see them. If there is nothing of importance written on these tablets, then fine. But we should all at least be able to see this. And I also don't know how, at this point, we could ever trust that the ones with the important information on them are not just hidden away in some secret vault. And then they give us back the ones that say they made pottery on Tuesdays, and Wednesdays were for bathing in the puddle, and Thursdays was for story time. And Friday, they sharpened their stick. And on Saturday, they would hunt for the local rabbit that's just been driving them nuts all week. Sunday was for resting, and Monday was for palace building. It's insanity. It's also tough at this point. We don't know what's been done to them since the 1800s. We don't even know if they're the real ones anymore because they've been removed from our view for so long. I do believe that we are just getting started, especially with this location. If they do hold the 30,000 tablets that are off limits to the public, again, what else are they hiding? Will we ever see these artifacts? Will we one day be invited in there to show these tablets off to the world and be the ones to show the world the truth about our past, our history, to show off what they found in the 1800s? Texts that have been preserved from all of us for so long. The preservation process is done, in my opinion. The timer's going off. It's time for the world to understand what happened here before we all got here, with possibly the most mind-bending thing that we have ever exposed on this channel. A stat, a true fact that shows all of us just how protected the mainstream narrative really is. Just showing how massive this operation is worldwide and showing all of us that there is so much more. And we are correct about it all, 100%. This museum is a multi-layered building with levels that we know were not being shown. The 30,000 tablets is nothing in comparison to what's being kept secret, away from all of us. According to them, their data, the museum is also home to 1,000 staff and over 8 million objects, where just 1% of these items from the old world are on display to the public, meaning that 7,920,000 items from the old world are not on display. This is a massive operation, withholding it all from us, admitting it all to us right here. If this museum has 7.92 million items not available to the public, how many other items from the old world are off limits to all of us, all over the world? What have we found in the last 2 episodes? 53 miles of books and almost 8 million items, all behind closed doors, all off limits to the public, all of us. Do you still believe what you were told in history class as a kid? The Valley of Peace, located in the holy city of Najaf, Iraq. It is the largest cemetery in the world, covering 1,485.5 acres and contains more than 6 million bodies, where burials have just been going on, we're told, for over 1,400 years, and is also pinned as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This cemetery, in my opinion, is a cemetery from the old world. The previous civilization was buried right here, where today we see that 50,000 new bodies are buried right here annually, every year, with other sources stating that over 100,000 new graves are added each year. So either way, there's a lot of people. And I believe all of this is done to hide what was once there, back just 300 years. I believe before 300 years ago, this was not happening. And these 50 to 100,000 brand new bodies being buried there annually, this is a new thing. With ancient artifacts and structures uncovered in the vicinity, all of this is linked to the pre-Islamic period. This is the old world, the previous civilization, a very powerful, advanced group of people. We are the finders. We're finding all of this technology, their texts, buried with the most important people of the past. There are also reports of ancient tombs and cemetery complexes. The cemetery contains sacred tombs and mausoleums or significant figures. These sites have restricted access to preserve the mainstream narrative, where only certain individuals or groups may be allowed to visit. Anytime there's something significant, something that would change the mainstream narrative, the story that we've all been told, they simply just say, no, The public is not allowed to see it. It's off limits, restricted to preserve whatever it is. Where we know what preserving means. They're preserving their story. And that was just good enough for all of us for so long. Telling us that they were preserving the items, preserving the site, or whatever else is inside. When we all know now that they are preserving, they are protecting the mainstream history. The history that we were all told. All over the world, in every single country, we see the same exact thing. Given the historical and archaeological significance, certain sections of the valley, especially those that contain ancient tombs, artifacts, or historical remains, are all off limits to the general public. All of us, you and me. This is all to protect the integrity of the site. No, all to protect and prevent damage to valuable artifacts and structures. No, no, no. This is to protect what is there. If what they're supposedly protecting and preserving was all exposed, it would change the world in a second. And we all know it. Whatever is blocked off from the public is something significant, something that doesn't fit in with what we've been told. How can we all read the mainstream history book and fully trust it when so much is being blocked off from all of us? We don't get to go see all of the information. We don't get to go in there and verify all of the information. And at this point, everybody in the world has to understand that if we are not shown all of the information, all of the sites, all of the texts that have been found, all of the tablets, all of the artifacts, and no, not just the pottery, then we all have to continue to ask questions, at the very minimum. Archaeological excavations, or exploration areas, where significant historical artifacts are being uncovered. This is the point that the camera needs to be installed for everybody to see, so that their story can be fully transparent and trustworthy. But instead, this is the exact point that they go on to say are typically closed to the public, all to prevent interference and preserve the site, preserve whatever they found. Wouldn't they just want to put a camera in there to be fully transparent, to show us that what they're telling us is true? Why are they preserving all of these things and not showing the public over and over? Where we go on to see that certain ancient tombs, particularly those of historical or religious significance, may be restricted in order to protect the integrity of the graves. In some cases, preservation efforts may require limiting access to certain areas to prevent damage from weather, even though they tell us that it's been fine for centuries. Human interference or natural decay. No, no, and no. This is not working anymore, and we are just getting started when we see that a notable discovery was the uncovering of a massive necropolis at the site, dating back to pre-Islamic times. This is the old world. A necropolis is a cemetery, especially a large one, belonging to an ancient city, the old world, where we have an entire series on this called Under the Necropolis. So these new people that are being buried here are just being buried around this massive necropolis. They're being buried around the old world. And remember, this is a massive necropolis. We already know that a necropolis is a cemetery, especially a large one. So for them to add in there that this is a massive necropolis is very telling. Containing royal tombs and ancient inscriptions. This section of the cemetery, the massive necropolis, had been previously unknown or inaccessible and was, of course, found again in our timeline. Found in the 20th century, the 1900s, during excavations and modern archaeological surveys. Now that we know that there is a massive necropolis at this site that they just found, it's time to go deeper. Uncovering a massive necropolis containing royal tombs and ancient inscriptions. All of this found in the 1900s, the 20th century, over and over and over. our timeline. We are correct. We know exactly what to look for. We are pinning this down and exposing the truth to the world. We are showing sites that have been just hiding in plain sight for so long. We're showing that the old world was massive, and they've just been buried right below our feet for all this time, preserved, or simply not found yet. Our timeline has just began in the scheme of things. There is still so much more to be found, including at Cahokia, finding the Nephilim and leaving it alone after 1971, ignoring that they found six-fingered giants, just like we showed in our last few episodes, which is incredible. Massive giants found with 6 fingers and 6 toes from 1967 to 1971, and then never talked about again, and then called it a mound, or the largest pyramid in the world by volume, all hiding right under the grass and dirt, where they said that the grass and the dirt is preserving the site, where we know that's not true. And then we're also told in Iraq that these tombs have been long buried, preserved, under layers of earth, provide crucial insights into the religious history of the region. Is this not a site that we should all know about? We should all get to see the process of what they're finding or what has been found. Is this not the most interesting thing? Something that would show possibly who was here before us, possibly what we're all doing here, and who built all these structures. It would show what's happened, what our true history really is. Well, these parts of the valley had been sealed off due to the political and religious sensitivity of the site, with access being restricted until recent excavations. Restricted until recent excavations? What is going on? What is this? In the 2000s, after the fall of Saddam Hussein's regime, there was an increase in archaeological activity around the Wadi al-Salam, the biggest cemetery in the world. The Iraqi government, along with Shiite religious groups, began conducting excavations and restoration projects, where we know that restoration is destruction. To reveal more about the historical significance of the site, these excavations were aimed at uncovering the older tombs, the older artifacts from the massive necropolis. We are told that they did this, and then these efforts were often restricted due to the religious context of the site. This would have shredded the narrative, and we all know it. Whatever was found in the 2000s, in my opinion, would have taken their religious and historical narrative and everything that they believed and ripped it right in half. People used to ask, why would they hide this information? And who is they? Well, who is involved in these excavation projects? It clearly states who the they are, telling us that the Iraqi government, along with this religious group, this is the they. This is who they are for this excavation project. These are the people that conducted the excavation and restoration projects in the 2000s. Can you see very clearly now? Aiming to uncover the old world tombs, the old world artifacts, which we know that they did. And then all of these efforts were restricted to all of us due to the religious context of the site, restricted to all of us because of what they found, what it would have meant to their group. You are always free to think whatever you'd like. I am simply sharing what we have found, asking questions that I believe take us closer to the truth. This is all in my opinion, and I state this over and over. All of my episodes are, and always will be, in my opinion. But how much clearer could it get? We know exactly what to look for to unravel the narrative now, and it's only getting more and more obvious that we are correct the further that we go. We know the keys to the game. We understand what to ask, and we know where to look. We're just getting started, especially when we are told that they came back to the site in the 2010s. Again, uncovering older layers of the cemetery, the old world. Uncovering ancient tombs again, and old world artifacts, telling us that the old world was again just over there making pottery. Can you believe how correct we are? We found the pottery clue months ago, and it'll never get old. They give us the pottery, and they have for so long. And they do this so that we stop asking, what else did they find? Going back to the top, where they said they found ancient tombs and artifacts, I don't believe that that was pottery. This is obvious now. They found old world technology. They did not just find some cups and plates. Finding old world texts, yet again, gold, jewelry, and of course personal items. I believe that it is the old world items that were buried with the important figures, just like we've said. It's so clear now, with old world inscribed stones, Sumerian writings suggesting that the area may have been used for burials far earlier than previously thought, as far back as the Sumerian period, where I don't believe the Sumerians were here thousands of years ago. I believe that they were here so much closer to our timeline than what we've all been told, or what is suggested. A massive necropolis, excluding the last 300 years of our timeline, where they've been adding to this old world necropolis. They believe that this site potentially had over 1 million people buried here from the old world. And we have seen this time and time again, where it's most likely so many more, and extends so much further out than what we're being shown. And should we blow everybody's minds today? Let's expose the mainstream narrative and show the world that what we've been taught is controlled. It is molded. It's a molded story that hides evidence of our true past, the truth. Most likely the reason why we're all so confused as to what we're all doing here. I believe that there are groups that have it all and fully understand what this place that we all live is all about. The largest cemetery in the world, stating that there are some claims that certain archaeological finds in the valley, particularly those that could challenge established narratives. Archaeological finds that could challenge established narratives about the region's history that have been concealed or kept away from the public. Are you done with the mainstream history yet? Do you still think they wouldn't lie to you? Should I keep going? Concealed and kept away from the public. All of us. This includes finding ancient manuscripts, artifacts with markings or content that could disrupt the mainstream historical narrative of the Shiite pilgrimage or the early Islamic period. This is what we're being told. We have been told this for years, and it wasn't until now, because of all of you, that we are now able to show this information. We are finally at the point where we can all see so clearly, and we're all okay with hearing the truth. Not only are we okay with it, we actually enjoy it now. Some scholars argue that these artifacts and texts have been deliberately hidden from public view by religious authorities or government bodies. Again, just like we showed. I don't think anyone will ever say to you, you keep saying they. Who is they? It's clear as can be now. Deliberately hidden from public view by religious authorities or government bodies to maintain the religious and political status quo. So if they don't hide this from the public, they're not going to be able to maintain the religious and political status quo. We all understand this now. The presence of mercury deposits in the tombs has been cited as a reason for limiting access to certain areas. And we've seen this excuse in episode 107. So this is the second time in our Off Limits to the Public series that we've seen this, where mercury is being cited as the reason for limiting access to the public. In China at the Terracotta Army, in episode 107, they are blocking us off from the site, stating that the tomb is said to be a grand underground palace filled with treasures and rivers of mercury. Where in Iraq, at this massive necropolis, some believe that this is an excuse to conceal more sensitive findings. So I'll ask all of you, what do you think? Now, the war in Iraq that began in 2003, which was right in the middle of this excavation project, which is interesting in itself. 2003 Iraq War and the subsequent looting of the National Museum in Baghdad that we saw in episode 85 were significant events. While some artifacts were recovered, many others were either lost or deliberately withheld, with significant findings from places like Wadi al-Salam have been withheld or are protected under government mandates to prevent them from challenging the mainstream narrative. What was there in the National Museum in Baghdad that would have challenged the mainstream narrative in 2002 that was taken or destroyed in 2003? What did we miss? It's all so interesting and so clear on who is hiding the truth from all of us now. This wasn't just pottery, a couple forks and a spoon. This was texts, tablets, artifacts and depictions of the past that conflict with current historical accounts and remain under government control, off limits to the public. What a weird thing to do. A trustworthy group would never do this. These items belong to everybody, in my opinion. I believe we should all be able to see what was found. The truth should be available to the public if they want to see it, not the other way around. If we want to know the truth, we should all have that choice. The truth would destroy these groups that benefit from the lie. And this is the reason we are caged into this mindset. The great thing is that we all know the truth for the most part. Whether they want to show it to us or not, the items would prove it. But we know that there was a previous, extremely advanced civilization here, and that their mainstream story is a complete lie. It's 100% molded to benefit this group that blocks the items off from us. It is no longer just for preservation, conservation, or to protect the old world items. The truth is clear. It's just to hide the items from all of us and protect their story. All in my opinion, of course, but I don't think I'm alone at all. Remember, while some artifacts were recovered, many other artifacts were deliberately withheld. What artifacts were there before this event and are no longer there? Should we expose this? Are you ready? Here we go. One major artifact that was once part of the Iraqi National Museum's collection, which is no longer publicly displayed, is the Sumerian King's List, a stone tablet that documented the reigns of kings in ancient Sumer. The Sumerian King's List was an important artifact that provided historical records of rulers and events, and this is no longer there. Again, we were told that these artifacts are being withheld or are protected under government mandates to prevent them from challenging the mainstream narrative, exactly like we've suggested. And we have now located an item that is no longer in the museum, the Sumerian King's List, a list that documents the reigns of kings, some of which span tens of thousands of years. This contradicting traditional views of Sumerian history and the timeline of civilization as understood by mainstream historians. This is unbelievable. Something from the old world that was once on display for us to see in Iraq and is now currently removed from our view, in my opinion, is something that I would trust so much more than anything else we're being told. It's basically an admission that it is the truth. Kings living for thousands of years. We have shown that Gilgamesh found a plant that helped people live forever. What is being hidden from us today? How many people that we think of as public figures know about this technology, and how many of them are using it? How many of them don't die when we are told that they do? I have no idea. But it is very interesting. The presence of rulers with extraordinarily long reigns, documented in the old world texts, sometimes lasting over 40,000 years, poses a challenge to evolving and advancing. It exposes that there's a technology to live so much longer. It poses a challenge to accepted historical and archaeological narratives about the development of early civilizations. This is exactly what we've been saying for years now, where I believe we have concrete evidence that this is being hidden from us without a doubt. Its whereabouts are now unclear. After 2003, during the Iraq War, the Sumerian King's List, this is now gone. And this is incredible. This document would 100% challenge the mainstream historical narrative about the evolution of human societies and the timeline of ancient civilizations, as well as our current civilization. Is this not everything that we've ever wanted to see in this research? Is this not what we've all been waiting for? Could this get any clearer? I believe that this episode is the cherry on top, the Sumerian King's List. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you think that we're all done with this list, if you think that we're all wrapped up here, always remember and never forget that we are just getting started.